Welcome back to Conversation to Close. This is Sean. So I got a question from one of the new members in my Discord community, and he said, how do I know if I have a good cash on cash return and ROI on a creative deal? I thought that was a great question. I do get that one kind of frequently, so I thought I'd break it down. First and foremost, if you're going to send me a DM, a text message, an email asking for my help to underwrite a deal, no problem. I do it all day long. But there is certain information that I need in order to effectively do that. So I'm going to start with that first. And this is for yourself as well. Whether you need me to underwrite a deal or not, you're going to need this information. On a cash deal, what's their asking price? What's the ARV? What's the rehab estimate? And are there any other expenses? HOAs, land rent. Now, land rent, you're only going to come across on a mobile home park. So, for those of you that don't know, on a mobile home park, if you're going to do that transaction, which you can wholesale those. A lot of times they don't own, and by they I mean the seller does not own the land. So they're paying rent to the mobile home park in addition to whatever they're paying for the actual mobile home itself. So things like that you have to be aware of. On a subject to deal, you need the asking price or the mortgage balance. You need the interest rate. You need the PITI, which stands for principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. That's the fancy way of saying I need your monthly payment. And again, you need to know if there's an HOA. And as a side note, if there is an HOA, find out if there are any rental restrictions, because that will kill a deal. And then you need to know what the LTR and the STR is: long-term rent, short-term rent. For a seller financing deal, again, asking price, rehab estimate, HOA, long-term and short-term rental rates. And then you need their taxes and insurance. You don't need that when you're doing subject to, because it's in the payment: principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. But on seller finance, there is no mortgage. So you want to find out, what are you paying every single month in taxes and insurance? If you don't know, you can look it up on Zillow, Redfin, Realtor, PropWire, PropStream, Batchleads will tell you the taxes. For the insurance, you're usually safe, most states, at about $100 to $125 a month for insurance. And then for a novation deal, you need the as is value, not ARV. And then you need the rehab estimate. And you're looking for a property that's in B plus condition or better. What does that mean? B plus means dated, not broken. If the property is dated, that's fine. If there's a lot of things that are broken, you might want to be careful. And here's why. And there, I'll do another video on tips and tricks for a novation deal to how to get it done without having a lot of capital. But essentially, when you're doing an ovation, you're putting yourself on the hook financially for fixing whatever the appraiser and the investor find in the property once you find a buyer and you're getting ready to close. So if an inspector or an appraiser goes in there and says, "Oh yeah, everything looks good, but this electrical panel needs to be replaced before I'll sign off for you to close," that's $3,500 you signed that you said you would take care of. And again, there's ways to get around that to make it come out of the assignment fee. I'll do another video on that. But B plus or better is what we're going for. So let's underwrite a deal. Now, this is coming off of my Deal Sniper community. So chances are this is going to be a creative deal. I'm going to start there. First and foremost, when you're using Deal Sniper, you don't know when you're making these offers, when it generates a template for you, you don't know if it has a mortgage or not, if you're doing it effectively. You're supposed to be doing Deal Sniper where you're just sending out offers all day, waiting for responses to come back. Some people want to do their due diligence on each property that they're sending out. Some people would rather just send out as many offers as they can so they can start getting leads coming in. Whichever way you want to do it is fine. But if you're doing it the way where you're just sending out offers, and you're not doing due diligence into the property, then you're always going to be assuming there's no mortgage anyway until the realtor or the seller tells you otherwise. So I'm going to start with seller finance because that's what Deal Sniper is going to start off with. And then I'll go to subject to and hybrid, because after you get a response from the realtor or the seller, then you can apply the numbers if they actually do have a mortgage to subject to or hybrid. So we're going to start with seller finance. So seller finance, you want to put in the amount that they want to sell it for. You want to put in the loan amount. Sean, how to figure the loan amount? Well, the loan amount is just what the purchase price is minus the down payment. So if you take $180,000 and you subtract our maximum down payment of 10%, if you've been following along, then you know the cash to seller is only going to be $18,000. And if you subtract the two, that means you get $162,000 left. That's your loan amount. Interest rate. We don't do interest on my team. If you need to, you can go up to 4%. But chances are, hopefully, you're talking them into, just an interest-only payment. I'm sorry, no interest payment. Amortization will always be 30 years unless someone else tells you otherwise. Amortization does not mean balloon. You can do a 30-year amortization with a 10-year balloon. All that means is that you're stretching the loan out, the $162,000, you're stretching those payments out over 30 years, but you're going to pay the balance off in 10 or in 12 or in 7 or in 15 years, whatever you say the balloon is. It doesn't change the amortization. If you change the amortization, that changes the payment. The lower the amortization, the higher the payment, because you're shortening the amount of years you have to pay off that loan balance, which is going to raise the payment. All right, so cash to seller we already have put in. That's 18,000. Desired assignment fee, we want at least 10. And then for this, I will do 2150 and 2800, just for easy numbers. So once I've got that filled out, go to seller finance, click the tab. Now here's what it looks like for the buyer. Now keep in mind, this is blank. We haven't put in a monthly payment yet because we want to see what that needs to be. We also need to figure out what the taxes, insurance, and the HOA is, because that's going to determine our cash on cash return and our year one ROI, which is what's important. If you don't understand anything on this page, make sure you understand this. Okay? You should understand everything on the page, because this is how you articulate it to your buyer once you have the deal. So here's what it looks like for the buyer. Now, for sake of argument, I'm going to put in 50% of what the LTR is. The LTR was what? What did I put? 2150? Okay, so I'm just going to put 1100. We'll put it on the high side. So for the buyer, here's what it looks like. They're going to be purchasing this property for $190,000. The seller finance portion is going to be $162,000, 0% interest, and they're going to be paying $1,100 a month. And the total entry fee for this $190,000 property is going to be $31,800. This is how much they need to come to the closing table if they want to pick up this deal. All right. So I've got my war chest in as 10%. We'll do our taxes. Actually did check this already. 1,048. For this one, I'm going to do $100 a month at $1,200. And just for sake of argument, I'm going to say that there is no HOA. All right. So let's see what this deal looks like. 24% cash on cash return, 65.9, 66% year one ROI. Sean, I don't know if that's good or not. Well, it's over here. So one thing I want to point out about this here, specifically this portion, the range, the optimal range, doesn't really matter on the high side. What I mean by that is, it doesn't mean, oh, if I've got a deal and it's a 31% cash on cash return, it's not good. No, we just rarely come across true deals that go above 30% cash on cash return for a long-term rental. And by extension, we very rarely that we come across deals that have higher than a 50% cash on cash return for a short-term rental. So don't think if, oh, it's mine's higher than 30%, mine's higher than 50%, it's not a good deal. No, that's fantastic. You just have one of the rare ones. All right? As long as you're above 10% and 12% respectively, you're good to go. So let's look at this one. So the buyer is going to be paying $1,100 a month to the seller, and they're still going to be banking a 24.4% cash on cash return. And if we look at this over here, that's great. This is a great deal. But the good thing about this calculator is I want to know my max. So I'm going to keep pushing this number up until I get less than 10%. Well, that was easy. So 1450. Nope. We'll do 1475. 1485. Nope. What about 1480? There we go. I mean, I can go in a little deeper and get rid of that extra 0.10%, but I'm not going to. So what does this tell me? This tells me that when I'm on the phone with the seller, or the realtor, and they hit me with a, hey, can you come up higher on the monthly payment? Now I know how high I can go to still make this deal sellable to a buyer. I know that the most that I can offer them is $1,480 to make this deal work. But I don't want to give my max away, because while 10% is our minimum, as a wholesaler, we need to be the happy medium of getting the seller what they need while making the deal still attractive to a buyer. So, if it were me, I would probably be right around here. I would be at $750 a month. However you negotiate that, I'm not going to turn this into a closing or negotiation video. That's separate. But however I would do it, or however you would do it, if it were me, I would offer, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'll give you $18,000 cash in your pocket at closing. I'll give you $750 a month in positive cash flow until we get this thing paid off. Can you make that work? Notice what I didn't say. I didn't say the words down payment. I didn't mention the words interest rate. And I didn't say the word balloon, because those words trigger those things. So I didn't say those at all, because those are bad things. I don't want any of those. But worst case scenario, I know I can go up to 4%, and I can negotiate on the monthly payment another $700 if need be to get the deal done and still be within range of a good deal. But this put out there to a buyer is going to be way more attractive and probably cause a bidding war over 10% cash on cash return. So that's how you look at a deal sniper seller financing situation. Now, again, and I'll do this on a different video. This video went a little longer than expected. I'll do this on a different video. But once you get a response from the realtor or the seller, hey, I have a mortgage. Oh, so sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Oh, so sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor. I'll tell you what, I'll get you another offer. Give me 10 minutes. If you can just get me the mortgage balance, the interest rate, and the monthly payment, I can send that over. And I just need, and always say this because it makes you look less of a threat. Because to all these people, you look like a salesman. You look like everybody else has called them. You want to differentiate yourself. So I always add this. Hey, I don't need specifics. Just give me an approximate balance, and I'll have title and everything pull it once we get to that stage. What did I just do? Hey, it's no big deal. You don't have to be specific. And I assume the close. Title and everyone will get that information, the specifics, when we get to that point at closing. I'm already putting it in their head that we're getting this done without having to ask for it. So throw that in there, ask for approximates. It'll help your conversion rate. It'll help lower the wall for people. The more that you put things like that into your conversation, no big deal. Whenever you get a chance. I'm not in a rush. Hey, I don't even know if I want to work with you yet. I don't even know if your house is what I want. I'm still on the fence about your area, your neighborhood. So whenever you get a chance, throw those things in there, because people by nature want what they can't have. And if you start pulling away, they're going to be like, well, wait, why? Why don't you need? Oh, you don't need all this? Okay, well, maybe I'll get it to him. I'm gonna get it to him quicker. I want him to work with me because he doesn't seem like he wants to work with me. I know that's crazy, but that's how people's brains work. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or anything like that, drop them below. This is Sean with Conversation to Close. Have a great rest of your day.